Hey everyone, my name's Grant Cohn. I cover the San Francisco 49ers for the Santa Rosa Press-Democrat. The 49ers need a flanker to replace Pierre Garçon. I've been breaking down a lot of the draft-eligible wide receivers, not doing their strengths and weaknesses, but just focusing on their strengths and showing you cut-ups of them running the routes they would have to run as a flanker in the NFL. Talking square-ins, slants, shallow crosses, deep overs, 5-yard outs, 7-yard hitches. The blue-collar stuff. I did it for A.J. Brown. I did it for N'Keal Harry. I'd like to do it for DK Metcalf as well, but I can't because he didn't run those routes in college. Not his fault. At Ole Miss, they only let him, here he is at the bottom of the screen, they only let him run go routes, curl routes, the occasional slant, and the occasional post. Basically 2 routes, at max 4. Does that mean he's going to be a bust in the NFL? No. Randy Moss ran the same amount of routes coming out of Marshall. He ran the same amount of routes with the Vikings early in his career when he had the most success. That's all Denny Green asked of him. When Randy Moss came to the Raiders in 2005, they asked him to run a corner route. He had to go to wide receiver coach Fred Biletnikoff, a Hall of Famer, and said, "Freddie, you got to teach me how to run a corner route. No one's ever asked me to run that." Did that make Randy Moss a bad player? No. It made him limited. It made him special in a specific way. People that think DK Metcalf's going to be a good player think he's going to be special in the same exact way. I'm going to show you his strengths and weaknesses, and you decide if he's going to be the next Randy Moss. I'm going to start with his strengths. And basically, there's one strength. He runs fast while being big. He's 6'3", 228 pounds. He ran a 4.33 40-yard dash at the combine. Let's watch a medley of him running past cornerbacks because it's fun and he looks impressive doing it. This is against Texas Tech. I mean, I don't know who this cornerback is. Just gives up, tried to press him, gives up a clean release, falls down, but look at Metcalf track the ball, catch it over his shoulder, and then beautiful knee lift, long strides, turns his legs over quickly. I mean, that guy looks like Usain Bolt. Here's another one. Bottom of the screen against Alabama. Press coverage. Alabama cornerback sort of lunges a little bit, throws his left arm out. Metcalf does a good job of hitting that arm away. It's a good release against press coverage. And then at this point right here, he's faster than him. It's over. Watch the knee lift, the stride rotation, how he turns over his legs, tracks the ball, extends, catches it with one hand, and then runs away. It kind of looks like Randy Moss right there. Here he is at the top of the screen. One more go route. Takes a little time getting out of his break, but then he makes up for it with great acceleration, beautiful stride length, beautiful tracking the ball over his shoulder, and you're not going to catch him. Okay, I'd like to do more of DK Metcalf's strengths, but the way I see it, that's it. That's what he does well. The rest of his game is extremely raw, and anyone drafting him is betting that they can teach him how to play wide receiver. So I'm going to take you through the rest of his traits, which I would consider weaknesses, and you decide if I'm being too harsh on the kid or if you see it the way I do. I'm going to start with his inability to finish runs with violence. He's the kind of guy who can run past you, but when he has the ball, if he's a flanker for the 49ers or any team in the NFL, you'd like him to have a blue-collar mentality to not just run out of bounds, catch the ball, lower your shoulder, and hit someone. It's what Pierre Garçon did all the time. It's what N'Keal Harry does. It's what A.J. Brown does. It's not what DK Metcalf did. To be fair, it's not what Randy Moss did. Randy Moss wouldn't run a square in. He wouldn't run over a dirt infield in Oakland. I mean, that guy was finesse to the extreme, and he's a Hall of Fame wide receiver. This guy is finesse too. The only difference is he's 228 pounds. You'd like to see someone this big and strong deliver a blow and not do what he's about to do right here. You'd like to see him hit someone as opposed to running out of bounds like he's 165 pounds and afraid of getting hurt. All right, top of the screen. This is, again, I would file under, this is a different weakness. This is what I would say his lack of agility and coordination shows up. I mentioned he ran a 4.33 40-yard dash in the combine. He also ran a 7.38 three-cone and a 4.5 20-yard shuttle. Those measure agility, and those are very slow scores. And I'm going to show you how those numbers translate into his play on the field. He's going to run a double move against Greedy Williams, one of the better corners in college football, going to be an NFL corner, may not ever be a Pro Bowler, who knows? This could be like sort of the baseline of what Metcalf faces in the NFL. He tries to do a little out and up. That's got to be one of the worst out and ups you've ever seen. Let's watch it one more time. Actually, let's watch it again. I mean, who's he fooling with this route? There is just no agility there. That looks clunky. It does not look like Randy Moss. And then to top it off, with the ball in the air, he just runs into the cornerback, falls on his back, and gets flagged for offensive pass interference. And when I take you through these weaknesses, what I see, the theme I see is a lack of coordination. I mean, that is not a play you would see from Randy Moss. Period. Now, again, this is lack of coordination and agility. Metcalf at the bottom of the screen, he's going to run a shallow cross. It's going to be a mesh concept. This guy's going to run a shallow cross too. It's man coverage. They're hoping that one of the corners runs into one of the wide receivers and springs the other guy free. This is a classic man beater. They run it all the time in college and the NFL. It's a route he would have to run as a flanker. So far, so good. He's wide open. But what's going to happen is this guy gets knocked. He's going to fall down. And Metcalf's just going to look at him, stop running, and then go again. Now let's watch it again. There are a million athletic things he could have done instead of what he did. And it's problematic because if you watch the quarterback, he's looking at Metcalf the whole way. He wants to throw to Metcalf. Metcalf's open. You could run around him. You could jump over him. But just stopping leaves the quarterback no choice but to scramble. I mean, I feel like I'm nitpicking, but at the same time, Calvin Johnson wouldn't do that. Julio Jones wouldn't do that. There would be something athletic they could do other than just stopping mid-play and looking at the ground. All right. So I showed you his lack of agility. This is almost just as troubling in my opinion. This is what I would call Metcalf's lack of field awareness. He's going to run a hitch route. He's going to get open, a curl. Here's the quarterback right here. What he does at the end of the play is just baffling to me. So again, he does a nice job using his arms, swats the guy's hand away, creates a little bit of separation. The quarterback's right here. All Metcalf has to do is jog back down the sideline, catch the ball, go back to the quarterback. He sees the sideline. There's no way he should go out of bounds, except that's exactly what he does. I mean, and not just by a little bit, both feet. That's got to be one of the least coordinated things I've ever seen. Now, this is something you would expect to see from like a tight end. Like Vernon Davis would do something like this. But he wasn't a wide receiver. This is a guy who is going to be a professional pass catcher, a professional route runner in the NFL. And he's doing stuff like this. I mean, this is a JV mistake. I mean, you get chewed out by your JV football coach for doing something like that. It would make me nervous to take a guy in the first round who makes that kind of mistake. Okay, so that's the only clip I have for the lack of field awareness. Now I'm going to get into his drops. This is not a nitpicky thing. Metcalf dropped 10.3% of his targets last season, and that's troubling because a lot of people think if he develops, he'll become like a number one wide receiver for an NFL team, and that's a loaded thing to say. A number one wide receiver frequently gets 150 targets a season. You can't have that guy dropping 10% of them. A number one wide receiver catches most of his passes. I'm talking a catch rate lower than 6, lower than 5. If you can't do that, if you're the kind of guy where you only catch 45, 50, 55% of your targets, then you're a number 2 receiver. You're a big play threat. You're the kind of guy who gets 3, 4 targets a game, and you're hoping he catches one of them. That seems to me to be his skill set. I don't see him ever being a guy who catches 95% of his targets, and I'll show you why. Here's the first clip. Top of the screen, press coverage against Greedy Williams. He just lets the ball hit him in the chest, and it bounces off his chest. I'll show you another angle, the replay here. The guy has 34-inch arms, and he wants to catch it with his chest. You see this all the time with him. It's a well-thrown pass, hits him between the numbers, and he tries to catch it between his chest. It bounces off his chest. That's why you don't catch the ball with your chest. That makes me nervous from a wide receiver. You're supposed to have better technique than that. All right, let's check out another one. This is what really troubles me more, though. I mean, you can find a lot of clips of DK Metcalf catching the ball with his chest, but this is, I think, the main reason why he's always going to have a high drop rate. I'm going to show you this play a couple of times, and it's really small. See the ball goes through his hands. I see a lot of people say he has concentration drops. He stops concentrating, or he takes his eye off the ball. That's not what I see. Here's what I see. You guys all saw that picture of DK Metcalf with his shirt off that he took before the draft. He's huge. He looks like Batman. He has a huge chest, but more importantly, he has a huge back, huge lats. And I don't think those serve him well as a wide receiver. As a wide receiver, you want more of a greyhound, sleek body build because you are pumping your arms up and down past your hips, tight into your hips when you run. If you have those big lats, your arms are going to bow out to your sides. More importantly, when you go to catch the ball, a wide receiver is supposed to run his arms against his rib cage and then bring his hands up to his face. That's proper technique. You can't really do that well if your lats are super wide. If your lats are in the way, what you see wide receivers do is their arms go around their lats and their hands come together like they're trying to pinch the football, like their arms are pliers and they're coming in together as opposed to moving up parallel to your face. That's proper technique. Pinching together because you have huge lats is not proper technique. It's going to cause you to have problems catching passes at your face or your chest, and that's what I'm seeing from him. A lot of times when he has to catch a ball at his chest, you see his arms coming together as opposed to moving up parallel. And you're going to drop him. You're pinching the ball. So that's another problem I have with his technique. Let's move on. Here is the bottom of the screen. This is another drop. This is another very un-Randy Moss play. He's just going to run a fade up the sideline. This is something Moss did all the time in the NFL extremely well. That's not the right play. What am I talking about? Sorry about that, guys. Here it is. My bad. Here it is. Gonna run a fade. One take Jake over here. Okay, so he's open. If this is Randy Moss, he catches this ball. Now he's really open. He pushed off. You'd like to see a wide receiver like move his hands up and catch the ball at the highest point. I mean, even a unrefined wide receiver like Marquise Goodwin does that. But no, he tries to catch it at his hip and he drops it. It's just so uncoordinated and unathletic. It's almost as uncoordinated as this video is. It's about that choppy. I don't like it. Keep moving on. This I would file under contested catches. You've seen DK Metcalf. You've probably seen him make some nice contested catches in the end zone. When he can stop his feet and jump, especially on a shorter route, he's pretty good. Big guy, long arms, he can jump. But when he has to run downfield and time a jump, he looks pretty uncoordinated. This is not him. This is him at the top of the screen. And again, this is a play that Randy Moss would normally make. But what do I notice? One, he mistimes the jump, jumps too soon, and everyone else times it correctly. Let's watch it again. I mean, just mistimes the jump. Jumps now. Everyone else is on the ground. These guys jump. And because he jumped too soon, he's coming down. Even though he's bigger than these guys, he can't get the ball. I don't know. If a guy is only really good at running and jumping, you'd like to see him make that catch more frequently. He's only going to have a tougher time in the NFL making that catch. And if he couldn't make it consistently in college, how's he going to make it consistently in the NFL? And I'm talking above 50%. This guy looks like he's going to be like a 30% contested catch guy, which is troubling when the rest of his technique is no good. Okay, here he is at the bottom of the screen. This is against UL Monroe. So this guy who he's facing here is not going to make the NFL. I have no idea who this cornerback is. But another contested catch where he can't plant, jump off of 2 feet. This is just a post route. I mean, you saw right there, he didn't show the break very much, but he doesn't really do anything. There's not a hard jab step or a head fake. He just kind of rolls into it. And then right here, I mean, the cornerback's all over him, but you'd like to, the guy, DK Metcalf, you're 6'3" with 34-inch arms. Put your arms up and catch the ball. Instead, he's trying to catch it over his shoulder, allows the corner to get his hand up right there and block and at least affect the pass. I don't know if the corner ever got his hands on it. It looked kind of like Metcalf dropped it. Be more physical. Here's 228 pounds. All right. So what do I got for you here? This is the biggie for me. This is the littlest thing, but it's the biggest thing that I've noticed with DK Metcalf, and it's the thing that gives me the most pause. No one ever talks about this stuff with wide receivers, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's all you ever look at, and I'm talking about false steps. What's a false step? Here's Metcalf at the bottom. Here's his front foot. Almost every time on every single play, and I invite you to look at it yourself, go up on YouTube and look at any of his plays from any games. He false steps at the beginning of every route with both feet. What's a false step? That means the front foot, when the ball is snapped, the first thing he does is pick up his front foot and move it backwards. 2 inches, 5 inches, 6 inches, a foot and a half. His first step is backwards. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but basically, football is a game of inches and tenths of a second. He ran a 4.33 at the combine. If his first movement is making his front foot go backwards, he's wasting a tenth of a second. He's wasting 2/10 of a second. So all of a sudden, before, when it would take him 4.33 seconds to travel 40 yards, now it's taking him 4.43 seconds, 4.53 seconds. And that's why you see these guys who run blazing times at the combine. You say, well, geez, he doesn't seem to play that fast all the time. I wonder why. Most of the time, it's because of a false step. And I'm going to show you what that looks like, and I'm going to show you him do it against press coverage and off coverage with both feet. Here's the right foot forward. Watch him move it back. That's it. Moves it back. It's small. It's important. Now, here's the right way to do it. This is DeMarcus Lodge at the top of the screen, also facing press coverage. Watch Lodge. He's just going to roll over his front foot. That's why after, a second, Lodge is here and Metcalf is here. Even though Lodge runs a 4.5 and Metcalf runs a 4.3. This guy takes a while to get open. He's slow off the line. Again, one more time. This is big to me. This is a reason why he's slowing himself down, moves his foot back, boom. This guy's first move is forward, and you're going to a lot of times see that with A.J. Brown and DeMarcus Lodge get off the ball quicker than Metcalf, even though a lot of times these guys are off the ball 2 yards. This guy's supposed to be on the ball. It takes him a long time because of that false step. Now you're saying, Grant, you're making too much out of nothing. That's just one clip. Okay, let's watch some more false steps. Here he is at the top of the screen. And I showed you this one because now his left foot's forward. You might say, oh, it's only with his right foot. He could fix it. Just have his left foot go forward all the time. Well, here he is with his left foot against press coverage. I mean, that's a drastic false step. And again, look at this guy here. Metcalf's still back here. Let's watch it one more time. That's a drastic. He brings it almost all the way back to his back foot. That's just wasting time. Okay, here he is at the bottom of the screen. This is against off coverage. There's even less reason to false step. Just get upfield. That's what A.J. Brown's going to do. Remember, look at this. Same foot forward. A.J. Brown is a yard behind him. He's in the slot in a flank position. This guy's on the ball. False steps. A.J. Brown does it. And now look, A.J. Brown's here and Metcalf's here. A.J. Brown runs a 4.5. This guy runs a 4.3. But Brown gets off quicker. One more time. Just watch Metcalf's foot, takes it back. Okay, one more time. Now watch Brown's foot. He's going to roll over the front foot. That's proper technique. That's why Brown's a good wide receiver. The little things really matter. Okay. You're saying, oh, but I want to see more, Grant. I want to see more. Here he is again. Left foot forward against off coverage. Watch that foot. It goes back. It's subtle. It goes back. And I'm thinking, well, maybe he just did it in games. Maybe it's something he's fixed. Maybe at the combine, he didn't do it at all when he was running routes. Maybe this is something that's been addressed. So I went back and I looked at him running a route at the combine. This is the best look I could get of him at the start of a route. And I'm thinking, let's just watch his foot. Does he false step when there's no corner in front of him? And he's been practicing this all year. He can focus on his footwork. He's not in the heat of battle. Just do it right. Roll over your front foot. Don't pick it up. Don't move it back. Don't waste a tenth of a second. Nope. He picks it up and puts it down. Let's watch it one more time. Picks it up and puts it down. One more time. Picks it up and puts it down. I don't like that. If he hasn't fixed this at this point in his career, is he really going to change up his muscle memory at 21, 22 years old in the NFL? I mean, if he can't do it in practice, at the combine, he's going to do it in a live game when he's working on instinct? Now, just to drive the point home, here he is running the 40-yard dash. Why is a false step absurd? You would never see a sprinter have his first movement be moving his front step back. It's always back step forward. You're exploding off of this foot. And DK Metcalf can do it when he's in a three-point stance. I mean, that's why he ran a 4.33. If his first movement was front foot back, he would have run a 4.5. Watch. He doesn't false step there. It's impossible to false step from a three-point stance when he has all that weight over his front foot. You can't move it back. You'd fall on your face. Maybe this guy should go to a three-point stance when he plays wide receiver like Dwight Clark used to do. It couldn't hurt. It really couldn't hurt him. It's a little tongue-in-cheek, but those are the things that really, really trouble me. You could say maybe he could fix a false step, although you'd think he would have done so by now. These little tiny things are things you wouldn't see from Randy Moss or Calvin Johnson. These are things that a first-round pick should have cleaned up by now. You know, if DK Metcalf were being projected as a third-round pick or a fourth-round pick, you'd say, yeah, I mean, he's worth the risk. We'll sit him for a year or two. We'll teach him how to play wide receiver. We'll teach him all the little basics, and by year 3, he'll be something else. But this guy's going to get drafted in the top 10, the top 20. He's going to be expected to play right away, and I'm afraid he's going to struggle big time his rookie season, maybe even his second season. And I could see where this guy could be a flat-out bust. I mean, I haven't even talked about his injury history, which is significant. I'm just showing you his techniques as a wide receiver, and they're lacking across the board. Again, what he does well is run straight while being big. If you think I missed anything, let me know in the comment section. If you disagree, let me know. If you agree, let me know. Thanks for watching. Talk to you again soon.